the University Putra Malaysia. I'm Wan Zuhaini Saad, the group leader, our academic associate professor, Dr. Suriana Sabri, our learning designer, Dr. Chong Chao Min, and Iman Nabila Sahrin, our first year undergraduate microbiology students, and of course our mentor teams. We are excited to share with you. We are excited to share with you our project, From Microbes to Macro Change, a transformative journey in ecology education, designed from the Co-Design's ESD toolkit. In order to challenge ourselves and demonstrate the potential of this approach, we have selected microbiology, a course that requires extra effort to align the Sustainable Development Goal. We believe that the experience of designing this course will serve as a valuable model for translating the co-design ESD approach into other regular courses. As a service learning embedded course, it addresses multiple SDGs and encompasses all key competencies. The Co-Design ESD Toolkit is a systematic tool that assists us in visualizing and planning our learning activities, aligning learning tools, objectives, and the SDGs, key competencies, and the head, heart, hands approach. While it may seem overwhelming at first, the toolkit helps us discover SDGs that we may not have expected to integrate before using it. It provides a structured framework and planner that allows us to explore new possibilities and create meaningful connections in our educational practices. Our microbiology course represent a pioneering journey in ecology education. It's not just about learning the role of microbes in environment, it's about understanding our roles in global sustainability. When we speak of learning outcomes, we have three primary objectives encapsulated in a head, heart, hands model. And these objectives aim to develop students' abilities to analyze ecosystem dynamics, understand the role of microbes in the environment, and apply this knowledge to strategize sustainable solutions. One of the standout feature of the course is the implementation of high-impact educational practices, or HIPs, through our research-infused service learning approach. In the From Farm to Fork project, student gets hands-on experience addressing the real-world sustainability issues in the poultry supply chain. So this approach is not only innovation, but also contributes to all the key competencies of sustainability with multiple SDGs, including SDG 2, for example, Zero Hunger, and SDG 8. In doing so, we not only ignite the spark of innovation and critical thinking, but also foster a strong sense of responsibility. The transformative power of the Co-Design ESD Toolkit Planner lies in its ability to help us embed sustainability at the heart of our teaching practices. It's guided us to define clear ESD learning outcomes and to craft interactive teaching strategies to stimulate critical thinking, encourage the practical application and knowledge. So it also helps us to design comprehensive assessment so that, the students are able to understand these and apply this principle to solve real world challenges. So to ensure the comprehension and application of knowledge, we have comprehensive assessment throughout the course. Participatory inquiry activities, we have literacy research, role play activities, quizzes, and the most important thing is reflective e-portfolio that integrate our assessment strategy. So we further assess the students' understanding of sustainability issues through the research-infused service learning project, and a prototype development and pitch exercise. So these tools, including the research-infused service learning, contribute to numerous SDGs and fostering a sense of responsibility and commitment towards sustainability practices. For instance, participatory inquiry activities align with the SDG 4. Our service learning project directly addresses the Zero Hunger SDG 2. Prototype development, pitch phase, foster innovation and partnership for SDG 9 and also 17. So the co-design ESD.
Okay. Sorry, Juan, I have to interrupt you.
Yes.
The time is over already, so we have to keep the time.
Okay.
So thank you. Now I am going to give the floor to our evaluator so that you also receive a constructive feedback. So Griselda, Valeria, and Vicky. Yeah.
Is it okay if I go first, Mariana?
Okay, yeah.
And is it okay if I ask questions as well?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my main question is around, you mentioned the challenging part of doing this for your type of module. Why do you think it was perhaps more challenging than for others?
Oh, because this is our course is a microbiology course. This course, the learning outcomes of the course is for students to be able to relate the roles of the microbes in the ecosystem. And in order to do that, the students need to be able to understand the 17 goals of the 17 goals of the SDGs, for example, and they need to be able to relate the ability of the microbes to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goal. In order for them to be able to relate that, we need to design the learning activities using various tools compared to other, for example, like a business course that focus on SDGs in related economic growth and responsible consumption, for example, or a history course that relate to preservations of artifacts. So it is more direct compared to our course.
Okay. I think what you mentioned is a challenge is also your strength. So because what I think it's fantastic about this case study is that is ecocentric and society-centric. So nature-centric and society-centric, which means that instead of you looking at nature from the perspective of what are we going to do to nature, you're working with nature to develop your approach and for students to think from the sustainable development, well, from the microbes, how do they impact or link to the Sustainable Development Goals. So in doing that, I think you also include systems thinking throughout, which I think it's also a very positive side of your case study. And at the same time, I think it's fantastic that you've managed to do that whilst also doing service learning and using that approach for students to develop, I think holistically, the hands, head, heart approach, as well as the SDGs. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
We only have two minutes to go. I don't know if Griselda and Vicky wants to add something.
Yes, I want to ask something. I already picked up my hand, yes. But thank you very much for your work. I'm going to be very fast. But you already mentioned many sustainable development goals, and I want to ask you why.
Why?
Yes, why? Because if you have many sustainable development goals in your project, sometimes it's going to be just a little difficult to follow up and to learn from all the indicators and the output of what are you doing with your project.
I understand, because when we design the research infused service learning project and focusing on the poultry supply chain, we design it so that the student, the idea from farm to fork means we divided into 7 groups: farm, feed mill, slaughterhouse, the lab, the veterinary, the distributor, and the consumer. So each of these groups able to contribute to align to different SDG. For example, in slaughterhouse, they were working on the wastewater of the slaughtering process that will be on the climate change. But in the consumer, they are looking at the consumers on the consumptions that will be in the SD and partnership with the industry. For example, that is on the SDG 17. So because of this design in the service research infused service learning, that we're able to align with many SDGs.
Hi everyone, I would like to chip in. I'm John from this team also. On top of that, as Dr. Wan mentioned, on top of that, this course is challenging because in Malaysia, we identify certain courses as high impact educational practices. So they have more learning activities like service learning. So as we mentioned at the beginning, we picked this course because we really would like to bring this back to our uni, apply to the other courses. So we don't want something that we pick a challenging course so that we can build it, and if we can brand it well, and then the transferability to the other course will be there.
Okay, thank you, John, for your intervention. Yeah, so the time is over now. We are calling now for the next team, the University of Derby. So if you want, you can share your screen. I don't know who is presenting. Okay, hello, Adam.
Hello.
And you are not in the presentation mode.
Not quite yet. Just
okay.
With
it's okay.
I'm racing to it. Happy now?
Yeah. Let me know when you are ready, and we can start with the time.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for having us here on the ESD Bootcamp this year. My name's Dr. Adam Simcock. As Mariana said, I'm presenting here from the University of Derby and representing our team, Dr. Chris Ribchester, Associate Professor for Learning and Teaching, our learning designer, Simon Akhtar, who's been working with us on this project, and also our student, Peter Van Elway, who joins us from China and is a student on the IPGCE course, which is related to this course that we're doing with the IPGC IQTS. So my aim with this very short presentation is to explain why we chose the module, to sort of talk you through why we use the ESD tool and how we use that, what we learned in the process, and what we intend to be the impact of this. So the Professional Theory, Professional Identity module is a 40-credit master's module on an international teacher training program. So our beginning teachers, as we described them, are working in primary education. They're working in countries such as China. They're working in places like South Africa. They're working in Norway. So they're arranged globally. And we saw that as an opportunity, really, to try to launch this program designed through the ESD tool to that cohort, if you like. We've been planning it together, and we intend to, whilst we intend to roll it out in full next year, we've actually been able to trial parts of this with our current cohort, which has been great. So I said, we've identified this module because of its impact with teachers who themselves are working with primary students in classrooms. We intended to also incorporate what we've learned on the course about transformative teaching and ESD pedagogy, and for our students on this master's course to be able to identify where they can see that in their own pedagogies and develop that as well. As part of that, we also incorporate the SDGs into some of the learning content and get our students to reflect at times on how they might deliver that in their own classrooms as well. And we've been able to design a couple of sample sessions for that, one of which, again, we've been able to trial with the students. And it's been great that the bootcamp has brought us together with the learning designers and the students to think that through and see that happen in impact. So as you can see from the first slide, there are 4 core SDGs that are referenced in a second that we've incorporated. We have been able to include the 3 learning domains in this. And by using the tool, we're actually surprised that we're able to, whilst we know that we're focused very much on critical thinking before this, and normative competencies, we've actually been able to build up some of the integrated problem solving competencies that we perhaps were lacking before. So go back a screen. So there you have it. We can see that we've managed to, as we've kind of worked through the tool together as a team, identify the objectives we already have and look at some of the others we wanted to introduce and the way that they align not just with SDGs, but the transformative pedagogies that we've learnt about on the course. So for example, we've got our students engaging with pedagogy around ESD, as well as talking to their students and thinking about how they might reference the sustainability goals in their own teaching. How have we done this? How have we assessed what our students are doing? Obviously, we need to align our assessments with those competencies that we want to see at the end of the module. So what we have, because it's master's level, students are choosing the areas that they're researching, and we've given them the opportunity to look at the use of ESD in their own practice and the way in which they engage their own students with the sustainability goals through doing that. And that's assessed, yes, summatively at the end of the course, but we also do that formatively through individual webinar sessions and assessments as we go through the course. So just to look a little bit deeper at those 4 sustainability goals, of course, the core one that we've got is we've identified and we're trying to strengthen is the quality education. But we also have in there, because the course looks at inclusion, which sits under quality education, and looks at well-being and welfare, we have good health and well-being in there. We of course have as a core pillar gender equality built into both the way that we work with our students and the way that we want our students to work with their pupils in their classrooms. And then by working internationally and online with our student teachers and their mentors who are also in schools and the schools that we're collaborating with, we've been able to identify aspects of SDG 17 that we've been working with. So we've delivered that within an online space, seeking to develop those transformative teaching practices. We've used discussion boards, breakout groups, online polling tools, where students can come together and reflect on the learning design they're involved in and reflect on their own practice. We developed, as I said, an example session where students were reflecting on how they would deliver a project with their students that engage their students with the concept of sustainable cities, SDG 11, and how they might work that within their schools. And students can reflect on that with their peers within that online community of practice, reflect with their mentors in schools, and then have opportunities to build that into their assessment and talk to us about how they went about it and how they could improve it for later. So,
okay. Sorry, Adam, I have to interrupt you. I am the bad guy here trying to keep the time. I'm very sorry. That was super interesting. So now, I don't know if Vicky, Melanie, Griselda or Valeria, if you want to come in, if you have comments, questions.
Yeah, just a comment really, not any questions as such, but what I really liked here was the focus on inclusion, because I think it's just so important that you've got, you know, gender equality and things in there. That's incredibly important. I like that you've got the SDGs built into the teacher practice as well. And I just wanted to comment that what's happening here is kind of what we call meta. So you're modeling good practice in terms of the active learning approaches, in terms of the discussion boards, the webinars, the polling tools, etc. So you're modeling good practice, and that the teachers you're training will be able to take those techniques on board. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Vicky.
I can go next if that's okay. I think the changes that you've made are very clear. So there is a clear outline of the changes you've made, which I think it's very good. And also, although this might be in a different part of the course, you may have not mentioned it yet, I think there are great opportunities to develop global citizenship, as in perhaps the critical global citizenship education side of things and global citizenship otherwise throughout this module. If you haven't done so, I would encourage you to look at the work of scholars such as Vanessa Andreotti and Karen Pashby for more in-depth development of this in your module, because I think there is a lot of potential for that. Thank you, and fantastic work. Thank you.
Thanks, Valeria.
I don't know, Griselda, if you want to add something, or shall we continue with the next team?
We can continue. I'm not going to ask anything. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Adam, for your work and your teamwork.
Thanks,
Okay.
Griselda. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So Adam, if you want, you can stop sharing. And now we are calling for the University Technology Mara. Sorry if my pronunciation is not super correct.
Your pronunciation is perfect.
Okay.
Okay, give me a second.
So again, let me know when you are ready so I can start the time and you have exactly 5 minutes.
Okay. Right, I'm trying to click present.
Okay.
Okay. The presentation is online, so it's taking a little bit. All right. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Nur Azia. We are Team University Technology Mara. We have a wonderful mentor, Dr. Romas. These are the team members. We have from diverse background, age ranging from 34 to 62 years old. We chose to study the students from Bachelor of Halal Management. And this is a program that, that we found throughout the boot camp that most SDGs are aligned in halal sustainability principles. And that is an awesome discovery for us. So we chose a course, a module, environmental ethics module to focus on, which is about 120 notional hours with 12 credit in the UK system. And for the particular case of 20 hours, we concentrate on, okay, I'm sorry, I'll concentrate on week 8 of the module because it's a 12-week module. And for week 8, we have the learning outcome is on learning outcome 3, which is basically environmental awareness. So for the throughout the course, which this is basically the outline of the course, we actually use the toolkit rigorously because we've designed the full 12 weeks of the course, and we can actually see how the different SDGs are dominant in the whole course and in certain weeks, and also the competencies and the learning activities. So when we look at week 8, this is the 20-hour course, the 20-hour sub-module that we designed. It is basically done after students have gone through theories and concepts and learned a lot about environment. So we actually calculated the time that they need to finish this particular experience. And for week 9 to 12, they consolidate all that they have learned into proposals and feedbacks to stakeholders, to the authorities, and so on. Okay, so this is basically what we have. I'm not showing all, but we can see that the dominant SDGs are SDG 4, SDG 11, SDG 12, and so the competencies are pretty balanced. So is the head, heart, and hand. So for week 8, which is a 20-hour module that we designed, we see a number of SDGs being addressed, but we focus more on practice. So the course was once, it was at the moment a very bookish textbook-based course. So we are actually changing it into a more SDG embedded and exciting course. So I'm going to let my next my colleague continue, because we thought we would like to all of the evaluators to hear all of us.
Hi, I'm Muhammad Noor, member of the team. Just to highlight the 8-week activities that is embracing nature-based practices. This is a compulsory activity that students have to arrange, have to manage. Actually, we call as naked trip to the jungle, to the forest, without any food, any meals. And then we learn how to survive outside there. So in this activity, actually, students will appreciate nature and natural resources for living. We learn much from the folks. And of course, they have to work hand to hand in practice with authority and industry. So we believe that we will achieve head, hands, and heart. And also key competencies 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So this is a very great activity to achieve our SDGs actually. So for the detail, I pass to my colleague, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I would like to proceed on the specific learning objective that has been achieved. So we have the head, we have the heart, and we have the hands to analyze the aspect of the environment, a human community, and the reflect on the aspects of the good attitude and practice and demonstrate how to ethically interact with the environment, that is to the human, flora, fauna, water, air for a sustainable life. So here we blend the high tech with the high touch, where the student will be assessed on the journal articles, entries, and we have a group project report that they have to assess, and promoting, sharing through the social media channels, where we want the social media, we want to promote to know that what we are doing, what the natives are doing. And then for the SDG that have been included, so we have SDG 4, 11 and 12, and also we have the design, that is the teaching and learning activities, where it consists of the participatory inquiry and action activities, ethnographic and practical experiences with the peers, and also the good projects. So we try yes to the student.
Okay.
Okay, we
Right.
Thank you.
So from students' part, we really had an amazing journey in learning this environmental ethics module. So this module really helped us by providing unique opportunity to expand our knowledge outside or over than what we have gained in the classroom. So the way forward for this module is none other than we get to remain our relationship intact with the native communities, and as well as with the Department of Indigenous People Development. And we do have a strong connection with the Ministry of Higher Education. So I think it can be huge advantage for us to work with the Ministry Office in promoting the ESD and SDG. So yeah, I think that's all from our group. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for your great presentation. So now we are calling our evaluators.
Yes.
I don't know who wants to start. Yeah, Grisela?
Yeah.
It's yours.
So I want to say congratulations for all the work of the group. I can see a very good balance between the Sustainable Development Goals and how you use all the tools. But anyway, it's very interesting. It's interesting, yes, just to understand that when you have only 5 minutes to do the presentation, perhaps you can resume or sum up just a little more. Yes, because we want to see and we want to listen more. Yes, but there was not enough time and there was a lot of voices. Only that, but thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Valeria?
Sorry. Thank you very much. I think this is a very creative case study. Also, I'm very happy to learn. Thank you. Great to learn that the SDGs are in alignment with halal sustainability. I thought that was fantastic. Great point of learning for me. Also, the field work and survival skills. I think the learning directly from nature, their peers, and the lectures, all that approach. I agree with you. It is an excellent activity to achieve embedding the SDGs as well as the head, heart, and hands approaches. approach. Also, I love your idea of blending the high tech with the high touch. I think bringing those different scales really create systems thinking in a different approach. So we do a lot of systems thinking in a technocentric way, and many technocentric worldviews are the most heard. But here you have, and they've been prioritized across the world. But other worldviews, such as ecocentric worldviews, also need to be included. And I think you've done something really good with this in your case study. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the students will enjoy this much a lot.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Vicky, now the floor is yours.
It's okay. I just popped it in the chat, my comments. Just really well done. An excellent example of learning landscapes, and I really enjoyed this one. Thank you.
Okay, no more comments, no more feedback? No? Shall we continue? Okay. So the next group is, and apologize if my pronunciation is not okay, University of Strathclyde. I think, Stephen, you are presenting, that's correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Hi there.
okay, so feel free to share your screen if you want.
Okay.
Let me know when you are ready.
2 seconds, I'll just get this up. And hopefully, oh, I'm just trying
we
to get
can see your screen, yes.
Is that
but
it
you're
in
not in
proper
now.
Presentation mode? Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'm good. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Stephen. I'm working in this team with Scott Strachan, Seb Sprick and Claire Crichton-Allen. Claire's here today. Scott and Sebastian weren't able to attend, unfortunately. But yes, our project, our class is tackling real-world sustainability challenges with chemistry, an experiential career learning module. And basically the course, oh, sorry, I should also say we've been working with Teresa Nicholson as our mentor, and she's been great, so thank you. And so our course is a year 3 module within chemistry. It's worth 10 credits within a larger lab-based module, and it's replacing an employability skills class. The main reasons for the redevelopment are to train students in understanding SDGs and the key competencies. I need to embed ESD within the curriculum to meet standards and accreditation requirements. And also to improve student engagement within the module, because the original class has been running for a number of years and it's kind of tailing off, so we're trying to improve that. So through the bootcamp, we've looked at 2 typical job roles related to this. So a research and development chemist and an R&D manager. And we highlighted SDG 12 as the key SDG to focus on, along with, as you can see, there's many other interconnections, many interlinked SDGs within this. And we've also focused on the key competencies 1, 4, 6 and 7 to bring in systems thinking, strategic competencies, integrated problem solving and a self-awareness competency. And our learning objectives as well, they were designed to help students understand SDGs and the interconnectedness of them, using systems thinking to design solutions to problem scenarios, and then also to reflect on their understanding and their practice of SDGs and competencies within the class and when they go on into their career. So our case study here, it lists the activities of the blended learning class. We have interactive at the start of the module. They would take part in 2 sort of workshops that are interactive, gamified sort of role play workshops, Climate Fresk and En-ROADS. So Climate Fresk is a kind of 2.5-hour gamified workshop that's rolled out at Strathclyde and challenges students, it gives them support from a trained facilitator to work through cards that represent human activities, Earth system, and climate change impacts, and it looks at the cause and consequences of these. And then En-ROADS is highly complementary to Climate Fresk, with student groups acting as different stakeholders in a web-based simulator. So we put these up at the start of the class, and we get the students engaging in potential, in sort of interconnectedness, looking at how climate change impacts all sorts of aspects, and we then move on from there to sort of go into a more kind of standard class. There's many lectures. We have case studies, problem-based learning that students work on. There's a standard, there's literature reviews and reflective exercises that they work through. So we look at our looking at our learning objectives. We kind of split them along head, heart, hands to a kind of 2-to-1 ratio. SDG 12 is covered as we want the students to recognise their responsibilities and their industry's responsibility, and the activities will enable them to map, for example, they would map a flow of goods. Oops, sorry, I've jumped ahead. To map a flow of goods and production and waste. So basically, we would use a Google Earth platform, a sort of problem-solving scenario on Google Earth, where they develop the solutions that are based within that, and then they take that and move on to present it as a report and a presentation at the end of the class. We've also highlighted SDG 4, as we want to instill lifelong learning through reflection, and also I can't say it today, SDG 13, to illustrate students' understanding of climate science and to help them identify opportunities and propose solutions. So here we can see more of the learning activities. The main ones, the project-based learning, as I've said, it's centred around Google Earth. The learners are asked to solve a real-world chemistry problem, applying their knowledge, and then the interlinkages between the SDGs. We also have reflective blogs, mentor meetings, so the students get additional support looking at their blogs and providing action plans. And we have quizzes as well at the end of each week to sort of check their understanding and their progress. And then we have the additional activities. I mentioned the 2 workshops, and we have many lectures from the lecturers themselves, but also from figures in industry. And then within week 2, there's the online video testimonials of stakeholders, so that builds in more of an industry background. The literature review activity kind of kicks off the actual projects that they work on for the end. And then we look at things like ethics responsibilities and the innovation lecture. The week 4 and 5, we've left off of this because we expanded. Sorry.
Okay, no.
Is that us?
Is
that me?
Sorry,
no, sorry, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, because the time is over now. So
okay.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you.
No problem.
That was super interesting. So thank you for your presentation. I also want to give some time to the evaluators so that they can also give you some constructive feedback. So I don't know who wants to start now. Maybe Vicky, if you want to start this time.
Vicky said in the chat that she's going to.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry, Valeria or Griselda?
Yeah, whichever. Griselda, would you like to go?
You can go ahead, no problem.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I would like to know, there were 2 things that really stood up for me. One is you mentioned the lectures, that there are plenty of lectures. So I would like to know from you a little bit more about how do you make these lectures into active learning. You use active learning pedagogies in these lectures. That's one thing, because sometimes lectures can be quite, well, could be passive. And the other question is around the reflective elements that I think are really important, but I couldn't get enough of a flavor of how that works in this module. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the lectures from my understanding, I am not a chemist. I'm not a faculty member in chemistry, so I'm not involved in the actual teaching process. But my understanding of it is the lectures form part of this particular class. The class runs for 5 weeks, and there's a mix of online lectures, online videos, and in-class lecture seminar elements where the students will learn whatever the particular topic. I believe the the main weeks of the class look at each of the 3 pillars. So I believe that the lectures themselves are a mix of online and in-class learning with a kind of workshop element to them as well, where students can use more interactive material. And the reflective aspect of it, the students are asked to sort of write a reflective blog each week. So it should total 4 or 5 blogs by the end, looking at what they've learned that week and reflecting on how they actually how they have addressed any of the SDGs in their learning and just in their general practice that week as well, and looking at it in terms of how they may take that on into their work, into their career.
Wonderful, thank you for your answer. I think perhaps in the side of the active and interactive side of the pedagogical aspects, perhaps there is space to develop that more through your lectures. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely, thank you.
Only one comment. Yes, you have there in the chat Vicky what she said about the gamification and using Google Earth. And from my side, it's very interesting how you approach the subject. Yes, because it's necessary for us just to add the intergenerations perspective. So for me, it was very interesting to read your case. That's it. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
So Vicky, I don't know if you want to add something. Do you have further comments?
No further comments. Thank you, Strathclyde.
Okay.
That was great.
So thank you, Stephen, for your presentation. That was quite interesting.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. So we are calling now for the next team, the Higher College of Education. I don't know if you also want to present as a group. Hello, Susan.
Hello, yes, I'll go ahead and introduce. It'll be myself and John.
Okay, so again, let me know when you are ready and I am going to start the time. Your 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, John, I believe we're ready. So
yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. So just to introduce again, myself, Susan Carter, and John Fattini, we teach general studies at the higher colleges of technology. We use the opportunity really to look at enhancing a course that we teach, which is Introduction to Sustainability, by adding contextual opportunities for learners. Now, just to sort of take you out in the big picture, we have HCT, we are looking at introducing sustainable development goals into all curriculum across the whole of the organisation in a GROWS approach, where myself, John, Dr. Nadia will be the team that will look at this and embed it throughout the curriculum. But let me just bring you back to the module and the summary. I'll hand you over to John and we'll just run through our areas.
Okay, and very quickly, as Susan said, we're working with an existing course and we've built a strand that we'll put into this existing course. We wanted to take advantage of context-based learning or practical applied learning. So the tasks we've introduced take the students outside of the classroom. And if you can see those 3 tasks at the bottom there, there's a kind of scavenger hunt or a trail or a tour, we could call it, where students go around our university campus and are guided to points where our facilities team have already upgraded the campus to make it more sustainable. So students will get more familiar with that. That's one task. The other task is home-based, where they focus on water waste and energy use, which is a part of the broader course anyway. They'll get lots of input on that. But that particular task is where they kind of audit their home from those aspects. And we have a final task, an object-based task, where they'll bring an object from home, a kind of show and tell based activity where an object is either a good or a bad example of sustainability. So introducing these tasks, like I said, the aim is to take advantage of context and kind of embed learning within a context. When we look at the Sustainable Development Goals, we touch on a number of them, and the aspect we touch on these goals, I think, is resource efficiency. So water waste, and thinking about lifestyles, more sustainable lifestyles, but all really touching on these SDGs in terms of resource efficiency, resource management. Susan, please. Conscious of the time. With respect to these key competencies, I think, although we touch on a number of them, I think KC 7 and 8, self-awareness and normative competency, are the ones we work on the most, because we're asking students to look at the environment around them, whether it's the home or the campus, to kind of understand their attitudes, understand the norms within that particular context. But also with KC2, KC3, we're asking students to be critical as they analyze those contexts and suggest improvements for the future. In terms of the domains, as you can see there seems to be a heavy cognitive element, and that reflects our desire to build knowledge. Maybe we could look at those tasks again and look at the balance, but there is actually more heart in the breakdown than the statistics would reflect there, as we do encourage a lot of self-reflection, exploration of values and attitudes in the module. Back to you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you. So just to briefly summarize at the end, one of the areas was the teaching methods and the learning domains. We felt that it was early days, we're new to the system, so it may not reflect exactly, because as a group we wanted to make sure that we understood if it was creating, was that part of the classroom. So maybe this was slightly out, but you know, it did give us a good focus and it helped us look at the objective learning. Here for the teaching, sorry, I'll just move that back again. You can see it was heavily on the book and documents, but we felt we'd only got into 16 hours of the course. We felt there would be more different tools that we would use. We were not able to reflect some of the tools that we currently use, like Stephen just mentioned about using Google. We use a lot of virtual reality and augmented reality in the classroom, where we take field trips using different applications, to nuclear power plants, to going through the water cycle. You know, there was a lot of scope there that we were unable to put in specific areas here. Thank you. I don't know how we're doing for time.
That was great, exactly 5 minutes. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
So now I am giving the floor to our evaluator. So thank you for your presentation, super interesting. I don't know if Griselda, Vicky or Valeria, who wants to start this time?
Yeah, I've got a point, if that's okay. So I liked this. I really liked that you were using concepts such as learning landscapes and object-based learning. And I liked that students would be able to critically reflect on their local environment at home. I thought that was really good. My only comment would be students will be coming from a range of different backgrounds in terms of, you know, some will be more upwardly socially mobile than others. For example, some people will have, you know, richer homes, perhaps more environmentally friendly environments than others. How do you deal with that perhaps lack of equity amongst the students in respecting all of the learners?
Yeah, I'll just come in. So one of the main course assessments we have running along this is where they focus on making the campus more sustainable. They'll choose an area on campus. So this was the starting task to get them at the early 16 hours of the course. So what we have on every campus, we have a virtual, we use ThingLink where they can go on and discover what's happening. So that gives everyone an even playing field, basically. And then it gives them the chance to go out, depending on what they have, and to bring in their learning, like John mentioned, about this, introducing this amazing task that will really enhance the students' learning.
Okay, thanks. So there's some nice scaffolding. Great, thanks.
Very fast comment. It's very interesting what have you done, because you already use all the tools using something that already exists. You make innovation in a course that already exists, and of course that was compulsory. For me, that was very interesting. Anyway, one reflection, yes, only one reflection. This is not a must do it, but you already choose many sustainable development goals, and sometimes it's very interesting if you can reduce that just to go more deep, yes, more deep, and to develop all the indicators, only that. But thank you very much. It was very interesting, your case, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something, or there is no time? See?
There is time, yeah.
Thank you. So I think the presentation, as I said in the chat, very clear and concise. Thank you very much. My only concern, I think, is a bit the perhaps, so you're using virtual reality, and sometimes my concern with this is that it provides a very technocentric worldview, and it doesn't sometimes bring the more, I understand that you're also including in that ecocentric, but then perhaps the closeness to nature sometimes can be lost. How do you address that?
I'll just briefly come in, and then John. So as well as the VR, we also use applications where they will do a virtual eco-forest within an area we have inside. But when we have time, we have a Go Green initiative with a greenhouse that we're able to use on campus. And then we have field trips also integrated within the particular program. So depending on the campus, we may go to the mangroves, we may go to the Savanias Island. There's different elements related. John, would you like to add anything?
Nothing, not really, no, because of time as well. I won't add, thank you.
Thank you, that's wonderful. And I'm guessing we don't have any more time?
No, if you have one last question, Valeria, is okay.
One last question, brilliant.
Yeah.
The other part that perhaps I could have asked to all the other previous teams, but I would like to ask you, just out of curiosity, how were the views of the student in your team included in the development of the module?
Unfortunately, our student only had a partial involvement, but what we did is kind of working with students. We kind of sought a more general feedback in that respect, and we kind of had to make decisions on behalf of the student. Unfortunately, yes, more student feedback on these activities, and perhaps running them and getting student feedback at that step as well will only make it better. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just to say within the organisation, they have faculty and student feedback ongoing that we reflect into the development, and this has come about from previous feedback also. So this has really helped. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Susan and Jonathan. That was super interesting. So if you want, you can stop sharing, and we can give the floor to the Kiel University. Alison, Kathy, and David, I think you are online.
Yeah, we're here. I think
Hi.
David's just putting the screen up.
Okay. Hello, Alison. Okay, we can see your presentation. There you are. Yeah. So let me know when you are ready, and I can start the time.
Yeah, I think we're ready. Are we ready, Dave, Kath?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Dave, you press the screen to move forward. We're going to do one slide each. We're keeping it very short and very succinct.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we're ready to start now.
Okay.
So, yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, let's just set the scene. What we do is we run a course for physician associates with our clinical practitioners trained under the medical model who form part of the medical team. The programme is a 2-year-long master's, and the curriculum is actually dictated as a national one. So we have to sort of flex parts of that curriculum, and that's what we've done here. So we haven't developed anything new. We've just re-evaluated what we do within our communication skills, and this has really brought around our views by including all the SGDs and everything that we've learned. And so our case here is around cross-cultural communication within our communication skills programme. And what we're trying to look at more is the ability to overcome cultural and language barriers within communication with patients to ensure that we provide safe and effective and holistic care. Now, this does fit with the university-wide strategy for decolonising the curriculum, which is also ongoing, which is a very big issue within medical education. So what we've done is we've developed a new triadic interviewing clinical skills sessions which students will undertake. And we have a flipped classroom approach so that the students will have information prior to this, they have training in this. And then when they come into the classroom, we use real patients or we use simulated patients for authenticity. And by doing that, we can actually bring in patients of different ethnic backgrounds with different language barriers. So they work in small groups, it's case-based learning. And yeah, so Kathy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, that's great. Can you put the next slide up, Dave? Okay, so I'm going to talk you through this rather busy slide. If we look first of all at the Sustainable Development Goals on the right-hand side, our main SDG is obviously good health and well-being, SDG 3. If the learner understands how to communicate effectively, patient outcomes are going to be better. An understanding of how cross-cultural issues can impact women's health will promote gender equality, which is SDG 5. And then effective cross-cultural communication will reduce inequalities in healthcare, promote inclusive practice, and reduce the likelihood of resources being inappropriately used and wasted. So turning now to how we've achieved the learning objectives on the left-hand side, in terms of the head, the students will be learning communication skills and they'll be thinking about cross-cultural issues. For the heart, they'll have a chance to reflect on their own and their peers' experiences and practice. And then for their hands, they'll be able to practice their communication skills and create presentations and patient literature. Our teaching and learning is going to be delivered in a number of ways, including pre-reading and self-directed learning, group discussions, simulation and feedback, and collaboration to produce presentations and patient literature. Our assessment processes are fixed, but we will embed cross-cultural awareness into our OSCEs and our single best answer questions. And during the learning, the students will receive feedback and they'll be able to practice single best answer questions so they get an idea of how they're doing. So I'm now going to pass you on to Dave.
Okay, thank you. Just to give you a quick overview of our final dashboard here, you'll see that we've mainly focused on 5 SDGs here, really just to give the best opportunity and chance to really fully embed those SDGs into this learning. These were 3, 5, 10, and 12, and 16. If you look at our key competencies for sustainable embedding, it's like a roughly 30% split across the head, the heart, and the hands. If you look at the tools that we're using, we focus quite heavily on using case studies as a learning method there, roughly about 45%. And in terms of the learning activity types, we've focused on communication and practice-based learning. And I think our sort of next steps is to be looking at how we can be using our VLE in terms of making sure that we can embed formative assessment as we go forward. And I think that's our time.
That's us done.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, David, Alison, and Kathy for your presentation. Yes, Vicky. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the team on their work. Communication skills is so important in the healthcare environment, and particularly cross-cultural communication, which can be a real challenge. So I liked that focus. And what I really liked as well was just your very constructively aligned course in terms of you know, what you're seeking to achieve, aligning the assessment with the type of learning. And it just, yeah, a nice authentic learning. I really liked it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Alison, Katie, and David. I'm going to ask something. Maybe you can do it or not. But I want, if I can ask the group, can you tell us an example, yes, how you're going to manage these cross-cultural issues, keeping the balance between the head, hands, and heart? Can you give us an example, a very concrete, tactical example, please?
Well, an example of the cases that we use, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of consultations with ladies from the Indian continent, many of them who don't speak English, who bring along their, usually a male family member, and the students really have to use their heads and their hearts really to understand not only that they've got a task to get a history from this patient and understand it effectively, but also be aware of the cultural issues and the translation issues that may not always be accurate, and then embedding that into a management plan for that patient, bearing in mind that there may be some information omitted. So it's a constant challenge between those three aspects really to ensure effective patient care, and we do encounter that an awful lot. We do have translators on site in all the hospitals, but again, they're not always there when you need them. So it's a very challenging situation, and it's usually the females of those cultures who are put in that position, and so the inequalities in healthcare do come through there. So has that answered your question, Griselda? Okay.
Mariana, if I still have time, you tell me.
Yes.
Stop me whenever. I totally agree with Vicky's comments and also with Maria's comments in the chat. I was going to ask you about cultural accommodation. Is that something that comes in terms of what you do in the case or working in those cases that you just mentioned, that example? Is that something that you include deliberately, or has it come in some way, or how do you see that if it comes and you haven't necessarily thought about including it, or you already think work on that, I'm guessing, through the cross-cultural awareness?
There's a lot of work on that. Obviously, some disease presentations are different in different ethnic background cultures. We also, alongside this, do a lot of teaching around, obviously, the diseases and the different presentations within different cultural backgrounds and ethnic backgrounds. We also run sort of cultural awareness, so that we have to be aware, and that's part of our university-wide, what's it called? Curriculum. Kathy, what's the first? It begins with D. Decolonising the curriculum. Yeah, I got there eventually. It's Friday afternoon. So decolonise a curriculum means that we have to be aware of everybody's cultural backgrounds, and we have to embed that into healthcare. And that's not just for the patients, it's for the students as well. So we have to accommodate students' cultural backgrounds. And we do find that because we have a very diverse cultural background in all of our students within the School of Medicine, they actually bring a lot of their own experiences into the teaching, help us to develop our own curriculums. The stuff I've learned from our students has been outstanding that I didn't realise before. So all of that is embedded. We have a very strong staff student voice committee, and our students will speak out. They have no hold back when they want to express themselves, which is good, because we have a very good exchange between our students, because at the end of the day, they're trained to be healthcare professionals, and we do embed honesty and integrity into that. So if they've got something to say about the care of a patient, they will say it, and in return, we will say it. So I think that really builds very strongly around cultural aspects within all of our training. And it's not just for physician associates, we train medical students as well.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alison. That was super clear, so super interesting as well.
Thank you.
So now, Amanda, Helen, Felix, and Claudia, it's your time to present from the University of Manchester. If you want, you can start sharing your screen. Hello, Felix.
Hi, we're taking a somewhat unorthodox approach today. So we'll be using a pre-recorded presentation. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, it's loading. Okay, now we can see the spreadsheet, yeah.
All right, okay. So we are developing a unit about e-learning technologies, basically, for our master's program. This is a new unit, so it's still in the process, and we're working on it as we move forward. I'll start playing the video. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Mandy Banks-Gatenby. I've been working with Felix, Helen and Claudia from the University of Manchester on the design of a new postgraduate unit that will be part of our MA in Digital Technologies and Communication in Education. So in recent years, an increasingly wide range of roles such as instructional designer, digital learning developer and digital curriculum developer have emerged in formal education institutions, informal learning organisations and learning and development functions in the commercial sector. So we're designing this new postgraduate unit to develop knowledge and practical experience of what it means to work in these evolving practices. And we were keen to draw on the ALD ESD framework as a critical lens on practice and to encourage learners to adopt sustainable practices when they enter employment by providing opportunities to try these out within their studies. The unit's organised into 3 blocks, which were inspired by the 3 active learning methods we explored on this course. So block 1 is the landscape of learning, design and technology practice, where we plan to use an object-based learning approach using Legato to explore perspective on historical, current and future aspects of the sector and some fundamental methods for user research and tool evaluation, which will then be drawn on later in the unit. So the theme of this block is a little more abstract, so taking the object-based approach will help concretize that experience with students. The theme of the second block is supporting learners and educators in technology selection and use. And this is a more practical theme. It's looking at knowledge and skills required to effectively select and support tool use within educational contexts across industry sectors. So the first section of the theme explores ways of providing support and essentials for engaging with users. The second section explores features of tools that impact suitability for learning tasks, including usability and learnability. And finally, students will explore tools in common use, emerging technologies, and they'll explore sustainability and the ethical implications of these in relation to design features and functionality. So we'll be using a storytelling approach for this theme, drawing on stories from our alumni community and practitioners more widely. So the final theme is designing learning experiences, where we will explore models of learning design through a project-based approach to creating a learning resource. To initiate this block, students will map out physical and virtual spaces in which their designs might be located, from on-campus spaces to local museums, for example. They'll then apply the understandings of the sector from theme 1 and considerations for supporting users and selecting tools from theme 2 to develop a learning design which embeds sustainable education competencies and explores how both technologies and sustainable perspectives can inform pedagogic approaches. And I'll hand over to Helen to talk through our dashboard.
Thanks, Mandy. Whilst our unit isn't specifically about sustainable development, through mapping the SDGs, we found that many of them are being addressed to some extent. SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 12, sustainable consumption and production, are, however, both more deeply embedded in the unit, and we will try and focus on these with our students. We wanted to ensure that the unit provided space for students to engage with all of the learning domains and across learning activity types. Typically, we find that postgraduate units are very much focused on the cognitive domain and assimilative and assessment tasks. However, we recognise the importance of practical skills, reflection and collaboration in the workplace, and wanted to ensure students can engage with and demonstrate these to future employers. So we've designed activities and assessments that allow students to use their hands through practical work such as planning resources and exploring physical spaces, their hearts through communicative activities, for example, developing and reflecting on an action plan and consultancy task, providing peer feedback and learning through storytelling, as well as giving time to develop cognitive skills and information handling. One of the limitations of the toolkit is only being able to select one learning outcome for each activity and assessment. This is evident in both the time on assessment and time on outcomes charts. The final assessment will assess more than just one of our ILOs, yet the way it is represented is somewhat misleading. We plan to show this to students as part of the unit, so we'll either need to amend this in some way or simply ask them to reflect on whether this is accurate or not. For us, one of the most useful aspects of the ESD approach was considering the key competencies. This is because our unit is very much focused on developing skills and knowledge for future careers. Students will have scaffolded activities and assessment opportunities to both develop and practice these key competencies. For example, the consultancy task will require students to facilitate collaborative problem solving, negotiate and reflect on both their own and others' practices. Through object-based learning, they will consider future possibilities, and throughout the design and development of a learning resource in Block 3, they will work together to solve a problem.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Mandy Bank.
Oh, sorry, that's it really, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Felix.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Vicky.
Yeah, so thank you, Felix, and your colleagues for that presentation. Just one question I had, I really liked that you were incorporating the transformative pedagogies into your course design. Can you tell me a little bit more about the object-based learning? What did that look like in practice?
So because we are working with digital learners already who are working with different devices, and we are focusing on the use of mobile devices, and then so they can use that as the basis for practicing, but also trying to engage and learn about the different learning landscapes. So if we are talking about online learning or different forms of digital technology-based learning, they can use that mobile device as a starting point for exploring these different ways of learning. Yeah.
Brilliant, that's much clearer. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, I think Valeria, she's taking a bio break. I don't know, Griselda, if you have some questions, some comments, feedback.
No comments, no question at all. Thank you.
Okay. Valeria, maybe?
I just came back. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, sorry, I had to miss just a few minutes from your presentation. So if I'm asking something that you have talked about already, apologies for that. But so because your approach, and this is something I've said before, you might be tired of hearing the same story, but again, technocentric approaches are very, very prominent in sustainable development in general, and in general in the world at any level that we can think of. But my question is, how do you balance the digital side of things with more hands-on and more the closeness to nature and to society and so on? I know it can be done through content, but there is something beyond the content that is also the human and the nature aspect beyond the content.
So what we're trying to do is try to adopt a different kind of pedagogy that would bring in that kind of human aspect to technology rather than the technology itself. So we have embedded in the design, or we still, because we're still really working on the design at the moment, but we are targeting the idea of people working together, identifying needs, evaluating technologies together, trying to assess the potential effect, impact, environmental, and all those, then trying to work through those, but also from an experiential point of view as well. So they experience this through what we are talking about, the object-based learning. So they explore these and get to understand them, and then work in teams and collaboratively to also negotiate the different potential approach to overcoming these issues we are talking about.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I think perhaps it's important to make sure that there is that balance, that especially in courses that are online, sometimes without an element of physical learning or physical field work, for instance, of any type. It is important to find ways of balancing that with also ecocentric perspective, but also that what I mentioned about being close to nature, because that has, well, obviously well-being, elements of well-being, and other important parts of what nature brings as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Valeria. Thank you, Felix, for your presentation. So we still have one presentation to go. So I am calling now for the Kingston University. Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you see our screen?
Yes.
Yes.
You are not in the presentation modus.
I'm trying. Now you see it?
Okay. Not yet? Okay, now. So let me know when you are ready to go and I can start the time.
Hilda and Gemma are ready?
Yes. Yep, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
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 So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. We are from Kingston University, and we are going to present or give you a general picture of our module called Education for Sustainable Future. Unfortunately, our partner in crime, the student Enoch, cannot join us, but we have to say that he played, you know, a very important role, and he developed this module with us. With me, it's Hilda and Gemma today. So this module has a particularity because it's for staff, so for academics, researchers, and professional services. So within our sustainability plan, we aim to embed sustainability through the curriculum and through the support of students. So that means working also with professional service, for example, from the employability team or library. And having that in mind, that our participants are not students, we focused mainly on SDG 4, 5, 10, and 17. So focusing on partnerships and quality of education and gender equality and reducing inequalities, because it sits well with the university agendas, especially because Kingston University has a strong agenda on the inclusive curriculum framework. So we are working together and embedding sustainability and inclusion. Another thing that it's important for us to share is that this module is not compulsory. So we were very aware that our participants have constraints in terms of time, but we also wanted to model best practices. So we want also for them to see how different activities could be used, and so they have the experience as participants, and hoping that they will also foster that experience with students. And I will pass to Hilda now.
Thanks, Tanya. So in relation to specific learning outcomes, you can see that we've got the focus on the head, the heart, and the hands, which is an approach that I think is really useful that I'm going to bring to my own teaching. But in relation to the head, we're focusing on knowledge of the SDGs and education for sustainable development principles. In relation to the heart, we're offering opportunities for interdisciplinarity and collaborative working. And in relation to the hands, the production of a number of artifacts, one being mapping of the SDGs against institutional priorities, and another being the production of an activity relevant to your own discipline or your own job description. And this is also shown in relation to the assessment, which reflects this. So to assess knowledge, we're going to use a quiz. To assess collaboration, we're going to have contributions to reflective forums. And in relation to the hands, the production of these artifacts like the maps. As Tanya mentioned, we're focusing on 4 SDGs, 4, 5, 10 and 17, but we recognise that depending on the disciplines our colleagues come from, that many other SDGs may also make an appearance. And finally, in relation to delivery, we're focusing on asynchronous delivery because it will be very practically difficult to get multiple colleagues together across different disciplines at the same time. So we will still offer opportunities to work together collaboratively at a number of occasions so the colleagues can learn from each other and collaborate together, but the focus will be asynchronous. And I'm going to hand over now to Gemma.
Thank you, Hilda. So some of the graphs produced by the dashboard are shown here. The time allocated for the whole module is around 23.5 hours, which, as mentioned, is mainly focused on asynchronous work, but does also have some synchronous activity, and there are some hours in there for independent study as well. The balance of SDGs, as shown in this graph, reflect our focus with this module, as already highlighted previously by Tanya and Hilda, and it's an area in which we received some very useful guidance from our fabulous mentor, Mohsen Randari, on. We've embedded a wide range of tools in our design in order to cater for different learning styles. As mentioned, we've got videos, online quizzes, a case study, and even a game. We also aimed to achieve a well-balanced domain profile of head, heart, and hand, as shown here, and that's also reflected in this graph of key competencies. Next slide. Okay, perfect. The teaching methods and learning activity types also reflect our focus to diversify teaching approaches, and we also wanted to ensure that there was an approximately even split of time allocated to each of the learning outcomes, reflecting their equal importance. And as regards the final graph there, this displays the overall time allocated to each learning activity type, which reflects the greater emphasis initially on assimilating information, which then gradually reduces, as you can see, so this sort of amount of red goes down as the module progresses, while more time is dedicated to production and communicative activity types instead, following a learning cycle pattern. And this graph in particular has made me reflect on my current teaching practice and how I can diversify and embed different learning activity types within them. And that's it from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gemma, Tanya, and Hilda for your presentation. So I can give the floor now to our evaluators. I don't know who wants to start this time with your questions, feedback. Valeria, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to start. So yeah, question similar to the question I asked another group. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how have the views of the student in your team been incorporated in the learning design?
So we had the students, Enoch, and he developed all the activities with us. So it was actually it was really a group activity. The design a group experience. All activities were discussed, reflected by the 3 of us, and we also have incorporated in our own thinking and the things that we want to focus, students' feedback and the work that we do at Kingston. So it's there.
Wonderful, thank you, Tanya. Tanya, I think I know you from somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Yes,
So
we've met before.
I don't
no
remember
worries.
where.
No worries.
Thank you.
It was just a comment from me that I've put in the chat. I really liked the scope for personalisation in this in relation to the assessments and for people to be able to contextualise it in relation to their discipline or professional role. I think that's really important, and it emphasises really it's a good example of meaningful assessment. So well done.
Thank you. Oh, Enoch is here. Enoch, if you can use the microphone. Go ahead.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, hello, apologies.
Hello, I have no questions, just only thank you very much for all your work. It was very interesting. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to thank you all teams for your engagement, your time, your great presentations. I am going to give the floor now to Maria, Juma, and Norita for the closing words.
Thank you, Mariana, and thank you all. It's been amazing. I'm sure Yuma and Norita feel the same. Do you want to say a few words now before we continue, Yuma and Norita?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's amazing to see the different, I guess, approaches that each of the university has taken this time around. So it's always fresh to me in a sense, and very inspiring to see the different approaches that you have. So I'm very, very happy. And I just want to say thank you to all the mentors who have been working very, very hard, the coordinators, and Mariana as well. Amazing job. Thank you.
Yes, and in my case, I would like to stress that from UNESCO ISI, we would like to thank all of you and encourage, of course, you to develop your work and share with us, of course, once you implement it into your university, so we can also learn more from what you are going to do. Actually, it has been very inspiring, and we had time during these minutes to know and to enter into a different level in order to see how powerful tool will be education if we can translate it into some specific path in order to work the climate change and to create transformative process into our universities and of course into our societies. So thank you very much for all the work and for sharing this with all of us. In a few minutes and a few hours, in the following hour, you will start to receive your certificates from the platform. So you're going to receive it into your email inboxes. If you have any trouble, if you don't receive them, please contact us, contact Tatiana. You have been in contact with her, of course, this time. And in any case, for anything that you need, we are here to help. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Yuma. Brilliant. Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Well, I think a big thank you, obviously, to all the facilitators, the mentors, and the evaluators. I think we have all of you here, your pictures, without the amazing work that you've been doing with all of your teams. Obviously, what we've seen today wouldn't have been possible. So we are really, really grateful to you all for your time and commitment and friendship, because I know a lot of friendships have been built in the process. So I think it's been an amazing journey. Now it's time to really go to the end of the bootcamp. And as you can see here, we've posted this on social media. These awards have been created in Scotland. Local artists produced them, and they're very proud to share this with you. And we're going to announce now the winner of the bootcamp 2023. And also the best mentor, according to the evaluations that we received from all the teams. So, Norita, I'll hand over to you. And the winner of the bootcamp 2023 is
the University of Technology of Malaysia. Well done.
Bravo.
Amazing job.
Can we see you? Do you want to say a few words? University of Mara, any comments?
Maybe Dr. Romas would like to say something on our behalf.
And your mentor
Yes,
as well.
please.
Absolutely.
Amazing mentor, yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Romas, are you around?
Yes, one second. He's just trying to.
He's trying to recover, I think.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, it's a wonderful team to work with, and it's.
We have a wonderful mentor, and we had a great time doing this. Actually,
wonderful.
Thank you so
Amazing.
much. Yeah.
Well done again. Thank you so much, and thank you, Romas, for being there. And I've heard a lot of things about, you know, how amazing the relationship went. So we're
Yes.
really, really pleased to hear that. So now moving on, well done again, and thank you so much. Now the winner of the Best Mentor Award goes to, and this one goes to Victoria. Victoria received the highest, bravo. We evaluated the mentors. I don't know if Victoria is here. I haven't seen her today.
No, she's on vacation, unfortunately.
Of course, yes. Okay, we'll let her know. Well done, Victoria. We identified the best mentor based on the feedback that you all provided, and also the number of evaluations that we received. As you know, we had 3 possibilities of entering the evaluation. So we took that into account, but many mentors had very high evaluations. So it was really difficult to decide, but I think Victoria was at the top. So congratulations, Victoria. Right, okay, so we're coming to the end, and what's next? Obviously, I've received feedback from Mariana, from Tatiana, from some of the mentors and participants on, you know, what's next? How do we get together again, and what kind of things we can do? At the moment, we have a LinkedIn group. That's the link. We're going to share the slides with you later, but if you want to use the link that you can see there, we have that LinkedIn group, and we post regularly there, and we encourage you to post more, you know, any comments, any suggestions, any events that you think you would like to share with all of us. But also we are planning to organize probably another meetup, a virtual meetup sometime in the near future. It could be probably blended, maybe depending on, you know, probably we do something face-to-face in the UK, and then we have an online event as well, you know, sharing the hybrid mode. So, but if you have any comments, or if you would like to share any ideas, you know, anything else, you know, please let us know. The other thing is that if you would like your cases, so we saw the amazing cases that you presented using the CoDesigns template. As you know, we have the cases on the website, so please share it with us. I'm sure you shared them already on the platform, but if you want to tweak them in any way, send the templates and the cases to us, and we'll update that on the website. Because I think it's really good to see, for example, health sciences, you know, different disciplines that we didn't have before. So it's really good to showcase, and that's the whole point of CoDesigns, is the co-creation and the collaboration approach. So that would be really good. Something else is that I wanted to let you know that we are in the process of thinking about releasing the toolkit. Many of you have expressed an interest in accessing the toolkit, in repurposing it, in using it. Some of you don't have the budget to pay for the license. We are in the process of discussing with UNICEF the opportunity to release the toolkit as a digital public good. It's a DPG. It's when you release open source resources, and then they become part of the UNICEF DPG bank. So we are in the process of doing that, and hopefully that will give you the accessibility to the toolkit. You will be able to repurpose it and use it as an open source platform or software in some ways. But we are in the process of doing that, and I think that's all I want to say at the moment. If you would like to have any other feedback, we have the feedback form on the platform for general feedback. And if you have any other comments, please contact Tatiana or Mariana. And obviously Yuma and Norita, myself, will address any feedback that you have. And we hope to have more teams from your universities in the near future. We are hoping to launch the bootcamp again, definitely next year, and Yuma, we need to discuss about probably potentially releasing the bootcamp again in the autumn this year. But that's to be confirmed. We are really busy doing a lot of things. The other thing is that, as you know, we opened the Green PAL project. This is a UNICEF project to
both boot camps. The English teams didn't really engage much. You know, there was exam time, so unfortunately we didn't have very many people engaging with the English one, but the Spanish one was really engaged, and we're going to present that this afternoon at the end of the session with a Spanish bootcamp. We had mainly Mexican universities really engaged, and we're going to showcase what the students that engaged with the chatbot produced. It's amazing. If you want to join us, I think you have the details on the website. Please join us, and we're going to have also our UNICEF ambassador from the UAE presenting the award to the winning team for the Green PAL project. So you're very welcome. It's a bit later today, but please join us. We'll have translation as well. Thank you so much to the translators. You've been amazing. Without you there, we wouldn't be able to do this between the two boot camps. So I think it's amazing. Thank you so much. Who else we need to thank, Juma? I don't know if, obviously thanking all the team, thanking all of you for, you know, bearing with everything and being here with us, presenting and engaging. Mariana and Tatiana, we didn't put your pictures there, but obviously you've been amazing, and without you leading the way and helping us organize everything, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Yuma and Norita, for directing the bootcamp, and obviously working with you guys is amazing. And I look forward to continuing working with you all. I think we were saying, Juma, that we want to have a picture with all of you. So thank you so much.
And I would like, Maria, if you allow me just one second, I just posted in the chat that, as you know, next 5th of June is going to be the Environmental Day, and we will love to have some short, maybe some short videos, 30-second video from you, showing the importance, of course, of continuing to work to save our planet. So if you agree, and if you have time, we would love to have those testimonials that you can share with us.
Absolutely, absolutely, brilliant. Right, okay, thank you so much, Yuma. Shall we try to get the camera so we can have a picture? Let me stop sharing, and maybe we can have as many faces, smiley faces, hopefully, as possible. And congratulations again to the winning teams and the mentors. Well done. And so how many? We have 2 screens to get. Okay. Juma, you're taking pictures as well, I hope. And Norita, yes. Great. Well, smile, everyone. Great. I like, Tanya, your glasses are very iconic there. You know, I can immediately spot you there, and the background from UPM. And let me just try the second one. Yeah, with all the wheels, the SDG wheels. That's a really... Teresa, smile. There we go. Excellent. Brilliant. Do we need more, Juma, Norita? We're good? Any comments, anybody, before we close?
Amazing work,
Maria. Yeah, there is a quick reminder, I think. Vicky already posted that on the chat box, that we will be in touch with all of you in case you are interested to publish the case study. So we are doing that for this year. We are going to do the same for this year as well for your bootcamp. So we will be in touch with all of you.
Oh,
thank you again
yes.
for all the amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you soon. All the best.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.